Welcome to our US Briefing Show. Today, we're diving into some hot topics around the globe. First up, Iran's nuclear sites have been hit, but the race for nuclear weapons might be speeding up. Despite the US strikes, Iran could still push forward with its nuclear ambitions, and regional tensions are soaring. The situation remains tense as diplomacy takes a backseat, and fears of retaliation grow. Next, let's talk about China's rising interest in military academies. More young Chinese students are signing up, driven by patriotic feelings, government incentives, and the desire for a secure future. Reforms are making it easier for high school grads to join, aiming to modernize China's military by mid-century. However, some parents are cautious, preferring overseas education for their children amid geopolitical tensions. Finally, South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung won't be attending the NATO summit in the Netherlands. His absence signals a cautious diplomatic approach amid regional conflicts and domestic priorities. The move highlights shifting alliances and the importance of strategic partnerships in a world full of uncertainties. Please continue to stay tuned for more detailed insights. CNN reports that despite the US claiming the destruction of Iran's nuclear facilities through a series of bunker-buster bombs and cruise missiles, the threat of Iran's nuclear ambitions remains a concern. The attack, which targeted key sites like Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, might have temporarily crippled Iran's nuclear capacity, but the resilience of Iran's technical expertise and potential for rebuilding makes the threat far from eradicated. Iranian officials have already begun hinting at withdrawing from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, signaling a possible shift toward developing nuclear weapons, even as the international community remains uncertain about the status of Iran's nuclear material. Meanwhile, regional tensions escalate as Iran's retaliatory options loom, and diplomatic efforts appear to be shutting down, with the US's aggressive stance deepening regional instability and complicating peace prospects. South China Morning Post highlights the rising enthusiasm among Chinese youth for military academies, driven by patriotic fervor and government incentives like tuition subsidies and streamlined career paths. Amid China's ambitious military modernization plans, new academies are attracting high school graduates eager to serve their country and gain advanced skills, especially as economic challenges and youth unemployment grow. Stories of students like Zhang Minong, who dreams of becoming an Air Force pilot, exemplify this trend fueled by nationalist sentiment, patriotic education, and the appeal of high-quality military training. However, some parents remain cautious, concerned about the risks of conflict with Taiwan or the South China Sea disputes, preferring their children pursue overseas education to broaden their horizons. The surge in military interest reflects both a sense of national pride and strategic necessity in China's evolving security landscape. South China Morning Post also discusses South Korea's decision to skip the upcoming NATO summit amid regional tensions and domestic priorities. President Lee Jae-myung's absence is seen as a pragmatic move influenced by the recent US airstrikes on Iran's nuclear sites and the volatile Middle East situation, which overshadowed the summit's agenda. Political analysts suggest that Lee's focus on internal issues like economic recovery and cabinet appointments, combined with diplomatic caution about offending China, led to his decision. The absence underscores shifting regional diplomacy, with South Korea balancing its alliance commitments with its desire to maintain good relations with China and North Korea. Experts emphasize the importance of deepening trilateral cooperation with the US and Japan, while also navigating the complex web of Russia's involvement with Iran and North Korea, which signals a more interconnected and tense security environment in the Indo-Pacific region. The Associated Press vividly captures the tumultuous aftermath of recent political violence in Minnesota, where a community mourns the tragic assassination of Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark. The city's residents, including grassroots activists like Monique LaCroix, rally together at the Defending Democracy Summit, illustrating a collective resolve to safeguard democratic values amid rising threats. Speakers such as Attorney General Keith Ellison and Secretary of State Steve Simon emphasize the ongoing legal battles against policies they see as undermining democracy, ranging from immigration crackdowns to voting restrictions, highlighting a determined fight to preserve civic rights. The somber tone is underscored by the tragic loss of Hortman, killed due to her support for abortion rights, a stark reminder of how political extremism can manifest as violence. Despite the heavy atmosphere, voices like Representative Emma Greenman inspire hope, urging citizens to channel their fears into courageous action, reinforcing the community's commitment to resilience and collective responsibility. Nikkei Asia reports on the volatile escalation of US-Iran tensions following President Donald Trump's impulsive decision to strike Iranian nuclear sites. The strikes, meant to dismantle Iran's nuclear ambitions, appear to have fallen short, damaging but not destroying key facilities, and possibly even invigorating Iran's resolve to develop nuclear weapons. Experts warn that this military action risks deepening Iran's distrust of U.S. diplomacy, potentially accelerating nuclear proliferation across the Middle East and beyond. The strategic repercussions extend further, threatening to entangle U.S. forces in a prolonged Middle Eastern conflict, with Iran poised to retaliate through cyber attacks, missile strikes, or disrupting vital shipping lanes like the Strait of Hormuz. The article underscores how Trump's military gamble jeopardizes broader U.S. foreign policy goals, including peace initiatives in Ukraine and a pivot to Asia, raising concerns about a distracted and overstretched American global presence. The analysis calls for de-escalation and clear signals to avoid spiraling into an uncontrollable war, emphasizing that the president's next moves will be critical in shaping regional stability. Finally, AP's photojournalism vividly depicts the ongoing conflict and geopolitical upheavals across the globe, from the devastated streets of Gaza, scarred by Israeli bombardments, to the massive protests in Tehran against U.S. strikes on Iranian sites. In Jerusalem, the U.S. and Israeli flags are projected onto ancient city walls, symbolizing the deepening alliance amid regional tensions. Scenes of civilian distress, children seeking shelter in Tel Aviv, families evacuating Haifa after missile attacks, highlight the human toll of escalating warfare. Meanwhile, global moments of resilience and cultural pride unfold. Bolivian indigenous communities celebrating the Andean New Year, a pride parade in Sao Paulo, and traditional dance performances in Romania. These images encapsulate a world grappling with conflict, resistance, and hope, illustrating the complex tapestry of contemporary geopolitics and societal resilience amid ongoing crises. South China Morning Post reports that Hong Kong is committed to expanding its land bank, emphasizing cautious management rather than immediate sales to offset its substantial budget deficit of 87.2 billion Hong Kong dollars. Financial Secretary Paul Chan Mopa reassures that land creation will continue regardless of market fluctuations, with land sales being carefully timed based on market conditions. Despite property prices falling approximately 28% since 2019, the market remains stable, and the government is prioritizing the development of the northern metropolis, which includes a new innovation hub and aims to generate around 650,000 jobs, over the controversial Lantau Artificial Islands project. Chan advocates for a strategic approach, focusing on feasibility studies and collaboration with the Greater Bay Area, while banks adopt flexible measures to support developers facing financial difficulties. He urges local businesses to innovate and adapt to changing consumer preferences, emphasizing that competition with mainland China should be rooted in creativity rather than price cutting, using metaphors like adding orange juice to espresso or moutai to a latte to illustrate the importance of bold innovation in Hong Kong's economic future. The South China Morning Post also details China's strong condemnation of the U.S. and Israel following their recent military strikes on Iranian nuclear sites, which have heightened tensions in the Middle East. China's UN ambassador Fu Song called for de-escalation, emphasizing the importance of protecting civilians and adhering to international law, while criticizing the U.S. for violating Iranian sovereignty and undermining nuclear non-proliferation efforts. The international community remains divided, with China, Russia, and Pakistan proposing a joint resolution for an immediate ceasefire, though it faces opposition from Western nations. Meanwhile, U.S. and Israeli officials justified their actions as necessary for national security, with Israel praising the U.S. for its decisive intervention. The situation remains volatile, with Iran likely to retaliate against U.S. bases in the region, and analysts predicting Iran might target U.S. military installations in Iraq. Fu Song reiterated China's readiness to work with global partners to restore peace in the Middle East, highlighting the complex geopolitical landscape and the urgent need for diplomatic solutions amid ongoing conflicts. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Lights dimmed, voice voices loud, headlines flashing wild. World in a frame and now, stories told, it's time to vow. Eyes glued, truth pursued, understanding woven through. Heartbeats race breaking through, knowledge spreads the new view. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, live and clear we convey. Shadows lift, facts unfold, moments chasing, stories told. Heroes, villains, tales of old. In this hour, truth is gold. Depths revealed, voices bright, losing focus, black and white. Every angle sheds some light, morning, evening, through the night. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, live and clear we convey. Truth and insight our way. Truth and insight our way. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, living clear we convey.